We are up to the reading component of Power Up, this week's show where we talk about playing, watching, and reading. But this particular week, we have an amazing guest on board who's telling us what she is playing, watching, reading, and that is Deborah Ann Woll. Hello, Deborah.
Hello
Lovely
again.
to be back. I am so interested to hear all about what you are currently reading.
Yeah, so I am currently reading The Story of Stuff. There's a really great 20-minute documentary that you can go if you want to just kind of get like the sense of what it's about. But I've been on this journey for the last few years of trying to better understand my impact on the world and my place within it, environmentally as well as socially, and with my community. And The Story of Stuff essentially breaks down our stuff and says, we tend to, as a society, be a little bit more aware of what happens after we have our stuff. Now, how much we participate in that, do you recycle, do you compost, all of that is variable, but we do sort of have a sense of what happens to our stuff afterwards. The Story of Stuff is what happens in order for it to get to you. What is the waste? What is the processing that has happened to all of this stuff in order for it to get made? And what I really am inspired by, but also makes it a difficult read at times, is that you cannot do that without also talking about human rights and human abuses. That the way that stuff is created has incredible impacts across the world. And so it can be a bit of a heavy read, but it's good to be aware of it, and our own privileges within that space. And, I don't think no one expects everyone to be perfect, but I think the hope is that if we keep talking about these things and be more transparent about it, that we can all be better, but imperfect. So this is me on my journey of trying to be less impactful and support programs that I think are going to lead to more equity in this world. This is one way I'm educating myself and doing that. Now, I only started it recently, so I'm not even halfway through yet, but it's been a really fascinating read.
I feel like we are a society fueled by convenience, and that has to come at a particular cost. At the moment, you click a few buttons and it arrives, but actually stripping that back and seeing everything that goes into that. I'm not even sure if you know this, Deb, but I had a fashion line, 2018 and half of 19, called What? And it stood for We Have Unlimited Talent. And the manufacturer that I was using was just in Long Beach. And I really loved the fact that they were locally and ethically made, all the clothes. And that was a huge, important part. And that's why I sort of signed up with them and established a whole company and slogan sort of around the fact that it was locally and ethically made. And then I got this email from them that said, listen, we've actually teamed up with a Chinese manufacturer. We can print and do all the same clothes that you've designed and have all of that going, but you will make considerably more money. And I said, thank you, but no thank you. That is not my interest. It's never been about making money. It's about making morally and ethically, reliant sort of clothes. And that's what I am. That's like the biggest part about my companies. And that's what's the most important part for me. It's not money. And then out of nowhere, the next 6 weeks, I kept getting very unhappy customers saying that the material was shoddy, that they didn't like, it was really cheaply made. And then someone even took a photo and said, why does it say it's made in China? And I was like, I don't know. Why is it? And had a massive falling out where they had moved my manufacturing to China.
Wow.
It had very clearly and distinctly said no, that I didn't want to. And I had to shut down my production immediately. I had to refund everyone who bought clothes made from China. And it ended up being like a really ugly relationship where I was just like, you've kind of destroyed everything that I stood for. And you lied to me. And I've been trying to find another manufacturer. But honestly, I've been so burnt by that experience. Because there was a lot of other stuff on top of that was really kind of like emotionally taxing.
Well, anytime you want to resurrect What, I will tell you my Donkey Kong one-piece swimsuit that I bought from you is, I have worn it to every baby swim class since my son was 6 months old, and the chlorine has just bleached it to high heaven. So when it comes back and you're making them again, I would like to order another one of those, please.
I loved everything about it, and I was so proud of it. And honestly, I had peers in the space that bought it on their own volition. Like, it wasn't me kind of like, please support me. They were just like, no, I really liked it and I wear it all the time and I take photos in it and it's just like, it's just good shit. And I was like, that was like something that I was really, really proud of. But I think like that side of it.
I think a lot of things, for sure, supporting things that do stuff sustainably, but also understanding that there's so much hidden impact and hidden cost in stuff. So, we don't necessarily think about water usage and water waste when we look at our phones, but there was a tremendous amount of water used to make that. And water waste, and to think that there's water wasted in the manufacture of something and toxins placed in water when there are places that don't have enough drinking water. So it, some of it is about reallocation of resources, but a lot of it is about just understanding the value of clean water. That just because it comes out of a tap for all of us and it's very easy for us does not mean that that's true around the world, and that we should respect that and understand that something like clean air and water are human rights, are animal rights, are plant rights. It's a right of life to have those things. It's not should not be a privilege to have clean drinking water. And there are
the highest paid the billionaires of America, the 10 richest people in the world, could fix it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends. There are great solutions for a lot of different things. It's really no one person. There are ways that we can reduce. You can buy secondhand. I think that's really one huge step that a regular person like you and I can take. We can buy secondhand because it means nothing was used to make that again. You can buy sustainable and quality so that you use things for decades. Like, if we can reimagine our idea that she even goes into economics a ton, because the whole idea of the GDP and capitalism is that progress is about making more money and having more stuff and moving in that direction. And if you reimagine that progress and value in your life isn't tied to consumption, if we take it away from consumerism and make it into lasting quality, then we're no longer tied to it for our feeling of how well our country is doing or how well we are doing. And it starts to get tied to happiness.
Have either of you ever done the gallon a day challenge, I think is what it was called?
No, I haven't. I have heard about it.
I try to drink a gallon a day. So to use only a gallon a day.
This was a YouTube challenge that went around years ago. And I forget if it was benefiting Thirst Project. It was benefiting one of the charities that talks about, potable water and how not everyone has potable water, and that should be a right, not a privilege. And it was challenging people to go through an entire 24-hour period only using a gallon of water. So, like, you fill up your gallon of water at the beginning of the day and just, try to, only do a little bit on your toothbrush in the morning. Right. And then how much are you going to rinse with? And then are you going to flush the toilet? Because that's a lot of water. Or how much are you going to cook with? Are you going to wash dishes? And just challenging yourself to go through that day. And I did it years ago, and it was super eye-opening for me. That they were saying, in certain parts of the world, this is all people have, and they're lucky to have this. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good about water. I mean, I think I've told this story where Sesame Street had this little 30-second cartoon sort of clip. You know how they had almost interstitials? And it was this kid who turned on the tap brushing his teeth, and it stayed on. And his house was next to a lake, and there was a fish in the lake. And when he turned the tap on, the lake water started to, rescind, decline,
to show.
And the fish pulls out a phone and calls the house, and the tap's still running, which is so infuriating as a 5-year-old and still even now. And he answers the phone. He's like, yes. He's like, could you please turn off your tap when brushing your teeth? I am telling you, ever since I was 4 years old, a little bit on the toothbrush before the toothpaste, and then rinse it at the end. And that is it. And that's all I've done my entire almost life, because I know fish can't use phones, but it's all about the messaging, and the messaging is effective, Seth Hendricks.
But I think, but then the next step from that is I think that messaging is amazing, and we should all get that right. But the next step from that is to say, well, while that kid's running the tap and it's going down, a company has come in and scooped out the rest of it in one go to make something that you then go and buy. So it's a little bit about how do we get policy enacted? How do we change our perspectives about things so that we don't think of things as disposable. We think of them as long-term reusable items. Obviously, we all are aware that plastic is a huge problem, and we can take steps to using less plastic and using things that can last longer for us. So yeah, it's just really interesting. If you are interested, I think we all want to do right by our communities and by this world, but also by ourselves. Sustainability is literally, it's about equity over time. It's about how do we use only enough that we still have what is needed for the next generation, and what is needed for everyone right now. So if you want to kind of take your interest in that to the next level, I think Story of Stuff is a great way to start educating yourself. It is a hard read because at certain times you're like, this problem is huge, and I have no idea how I can help. But I hope that something like this is one way to say, like, hey, everybody, like, what if we all talk about it? And it's not so much about shame. It's much more about, like, what are the little things that we can do? Can I save my shower water and, water my plants with it? As long as you're using products that are natural, that's a perfectly acceptable thing to do, and, Kevin Costner is a big water warrior, and he gets a lot of flack for this, but like compostable toilets are a really wonderful, awesome thing that works now. It's going to be extremely hard to implement them because no one's going to want to do that. Sorry?
We all know the rule with that, though. If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown,
hopefully.
Let it down.
But the idea is, like, what he says is it's absolutely crazy that we take clean, drinkable water, pollute it, then put it through a system that uses so much energy to then unpollute it again and put it back into our system. So he's saying, why do that in the first place when we have these compostable options where it literally turns our waste into usable fertilizer? Yeah. Now, again, with the same system, if we were to just switch out our sewage system for a compostable system, you could still have a utility that comes around and picks it up, but it's just change is so hard. Yeah. And so I feel like, again, talking about it, saying, like, this isn't a taboo subject. No one's saying anyone is doing anything wrong or bad. No one's saying you're doing anything bad. But if we can just all talk about it and go, hey, well, what can I do in my small way? And what books can I read? And when I get into my new house, maybe my move-in renovation isn't new floors. Maybe it's a gray water system. And that'll make me feel like I'm contributing in some way. So it's been an interesting
a book like this, like reading it can feel really daunting because it is a huge scale thing. But at the same time, like also knowing that if the entire population was even something like 5 or 10% more aware and like made a 10% of a change to their day-to-day actions, the incredible repercussions of that alone. So it's not about one person changing 100%. It's about every single person changing enough, just a little bit to be able to,
doing what you can manage and taking time. Some of it is a big pollutant and water waster is obviously animals and things like that. So if you're able to eat just a little bit less meat, can go a long way towards helping out. But that's a tough change to make because you have to make sure you get all the nutrients. So do your research. And if it takes you 2 months because you had to research it and figure it out, that's better than not doing it at all.
That's a big selling point of Impossible Meats. They always talk about that, how it's so much less water and not that it's necessarily the diet alternative by any means, but if you're looking for something that's more ethically sustainable and environmentally sustainable, then that's a good way to do it. So, I mean, I guess the first step in all of this is educating yourself. So reading something like The Story of Stuff is perfect. Thank you so much, Deborah, for bringing that to everybody's attention today. Everyone in chat is saying that this conversation has been good for their soul, and I could not agree more. So thank you for that. Let's bring in Amy Cassandra Martinez for Bombs Away Q&A.
Also, I didn't want to wreck the conversation that was happening, but there is confirmation. It was a wink.
It was a wink. Yay!
Yeah, I did it.
It happened.
I'm 34 and I winked.
Classy librarian.
You said I couldn't do it.
Classy librarian said it was a wink, and then someone, I didn't see who said it after, someone said actually the other eye moved a little bit, debatable. So we'll have to go back and watch the clip to confirm either way. Maybe we'll do that on Power Down today. We will watch the clip and figure it out.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
So this question is from Bomberbacker Steven Summers. I will also be getting a Twitch one right after this one. Which of your D&D characters has meant the most to you, Deborah?
Oh, I mean, Kiki has a really soft space in my heart. I love playing Kiki.
Kiki's my pseudo mom.
Well, she's everyone's mom. So
Yeah.
Kiki, she has 2 beautiful boys, but they've grown up. They're living their lives. So everyone she meets in her life becomes her new children. Mm-hmm. She loves any young person that she can help support. So yes, Kiki's very supportive. She just wants you to feel loved and special.
Kiki, do you love me? Yes, I do.
But I, of course, also have a very soft spot for Twiggy, who is basically me at 5 years old. If D&D is me at 12, like, Twiggy's like, I'm going to regress even further. And she just wants to tell stupid jokes and run and, you know, like, if there are fields of flowers, Twiggy would not be able to resist running and twirling in them and singing out loud. And again, all of the things that made me feel like I was a weirdo, or others made me feel like I was a weirdo or an outsider because of the things I like to do, like sing at the top of my lungs, is something that Kiki does without any shame, and it allows me to kind of access that again.
It's so interesting, like, what direction people take with their characters, because I always am I can be a bit of a brat, but like severely independent with trust issues, and she can't find love. And it's like,
what are you exploring there? Yeah. I'm exploring my childhood because it scares me. So there you go.
There you go.
You're exploring a side of yourself. It's a little scary, maybe.
Yeah, I got pregnant in a game once.
Oh, wow.
Like, what happening in my life? So later,
I got pregnant in a game once, and it's how my character died.
Oh my goodness.
So that won't mess you up in real life later,
dark.
huh? Happy
mine
report,
really
I've since gotten pregnant in real life and not died, so it worked out better in real life than it did in my D&D session.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. Sorry, next question. Have we got one from Twitch?
This one's from Sprinkles the Dragon Cat. What is your favorite meal?
Ooh. So in just talking about not having too much meat, I do love steak. But I try to be really special about when I have it, special occasions, something like that. For sure, lessening my consumption of animal products is sort of my next step, but I am aware that on a dietary level, you have to be very careful with that. And I also don't want to suddenly like be using a lot more plastic or a lot more something else to have less meat when I'm trying to offset something. So I want to make sure I do it right. So sort of very slowly, I'm learning about how to live have a more plant-based diet. But yes, steak and potatoes is so delicious with butter. Is so delicious. And I think for the rest of my life, I will probably still have that as like a special occasion meal.
It'd be kind of cool though to get all of chat to kind of to put forward their thing that they're doing, just to kind of inspire others if you need an idea. Yeah. For example, I will go off milk for about 3 months at a time, and I will substitute it for an oat milk. So like, because I love milk and in my coffee and it's so important, but I have found something that is good enough. So yeah, I'll take like 3 months just off dairy in that regard, and then wait a long time, and then kind of go back and then switch it up again. So it's not huge, but it's something. I kind of want everyone to sound off in the comments, and if you're watching this on VOD, comment on YouTube what little thing that you do and inspire others, and hopefully everyone can like swap and share and maybe adopt.
I will say one tip that I did get from my gallon a day challenge was washing your face with a spray bottle. Instead of letting the sink just run and like splash and stuff like that. Man, a little tiny spray bottle can go such a long way. You can get your morning face wash and your evening face wash done with like that much water. It's good.
It's pretty good. That is a good one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, unpackaged fruits and veggies. I really like that one. Classy librarian. My mum taught me as well as a young age. She's like, why are we putting everything in a plastic bag when we go to the groceries. She would just put it straight in. She's like, you have to wash them anyway.
Yeah, California has been great about doing the reusable bag thing. That's been like, again, like we need more sort of on that level policies that sort of help us break it down. But again, yeah, making sure, you can make a commitment to like, not buying a water bottle, like having your water bottle that you refill. That's a simple one. For my ladies out there, menstrual cups and period panties I recommend them wholeheartedly. It's a fantastic way. I have a zero waste menstrual cycle now, which is absolutely incredible. And that I'm all nervous now. I've shared something secret about myself.
No, I
think it's fantastic.
I needed to hear that because it's like,
it's good to hear someone in real life say that.
Yeah.
If I could apply convenience to anything, it's probably going to be that, because as a woman,
look, menstrual cup and period panties are, I think if you're a woman, it has absolutely revolutionized the way I think about my cycle. And it is so much less stressful now. Like it used to be stressful and I used to worry about all kinds of things through it. And I just don't have that worry anymore. So like, that's a good tip I will give. If you're comfortable with that, that is a win-win. That's cool stuff.
These are all great tips, and I saw people in chat, especially Seth made me laugh so hard. Seth Hendricks is in chat, says, what I'm doing is avoiding all exercise of any type, so I can avoid wasting water by sweating. It's been really great.
There you go.
And I love it. But no, seriously, people are talking about like reusing grocery bags and just the little things we can do to help out, buying things from farmers markets instead of mass produced and things like that. Grass-fed animals, free-range animals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Totally.
So
I think exactly. Like having these conversations and just like learning from each other is really fantastic.
I learned something. That was amazing. Was that our Twitch question? Mm-hmm. It was. Oh, we're all done.
We're done. We did it.
Oh, Deb, thank you so much for spending a Friday afternoon with us and joining me and everyone here on Power Up and telling us what you were playing, watching, and reading. If people would like to follow your adventures, learn more about your new Manticore Games project and all that fun stuff, where can people follow you?
I'm on all the things. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's my name. You'll find me. And there's a picture that looks like this sort of. So if you're interested, just
Are you doing another auction at the moment as well?
Oh, we do them all the time. So because of all these cool projects that I've been on, my husband has an eye condition called choroideremia, which causes blindness. So we do a ton of work and outreach to try and look for a treatment or a cure for specifically choroideremia, but a lot of other genetic eye diseases as well. So because we get all this cool stuff when I work on these shows and I get all of my cool famous friends to sign them, we have a bunch of auction items. We're doing auctions all the time. It's a good way to have a piece of a show you really like and also contribute to something that's going to really help a bunch of people. So
yay. And people can find people can find those by following you on social media.
We post about it all the time, probably too much.
That's awesome. I love that you're able to recycle that stuff for a good cause and for something that you're passionate about. And also then, people get to freak out because they get a piece of a show that they love. Cool. Chad is asking currently if you have a Twitch, Deborah.
I do not have a Twitch of my own, no.
But I see people
really scary.
People are linking your Twitter.
Yes, Relics and Rarities. Go watch Relics and Rarities if you don't know about it. Even if you aren't a Dungeons and Dragons person, our plan for it was that you could enjoy it even if you don't know what all the dice rolling is about. We have incredible guest stars that came on the show. Most of them had never played D&D before. So you will watch Kevin Smith play D&D for the first time ever in his life. We had Sam Richardson, Simone Missick, Janina Gavankar, Matthew Lillard, and who was our last person? Oh, Charlie Cox. My good friend Charlie Cox.
No big deal.
No big deal. So an incredible group of guest stars. Again, most of whom had never played D&D before. So they are wonderful. I hope it will inspire you to play.
Yay.
Love it. Thanks again. Have the best time. And you and I will be in touch about game night.
Hogwarts.
Seriously, so excited for that one. Everyone be safe. And if you do want to sign up and watch Power Down, that will be recorded after this. Head over to Geekbomb. No, Maude.
Again, take two.
No, that's still not it.
Take 3.
Patreon.com/geekbomb. $10 and higher gets access to Power Down each week. And I'll tell you why I'm so exhausted all after this, okay? Woo!
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys. We will be back next week with a new Power Up. But until then, be safe and
take care.
Sustainable.
Be safe. Bye. Also, thank you, Ella Efron, for gifting 5 subs. I love you. Have a great day, everyone. Be safe.